So before we even get into this video, I know, unfortunately, the reason why you clicked this video is because one, you just found out that you failed your NCLEX, or two, you know, you're getting ready to retake it and you just need some guidance. So I just want to start by giving you a big virtual hug. I know it sucks. I know you're going through it. Trust me, I went through it too. But keep watching this video and I'm gonna show you what helped me obtain my RN license. So stay tuned. I'm gonna keep it very real with y'all. It sucks. It sucks. It brings so much self-doubt. Like, it makes you, you know, think about if you made the right decision, if you'll be good enough. But I'm here to tell you that just because you didn't pass the first time does not mean that you're not gonna get your license. And even if it takes you a couple of tries, it does not make you any less of like a good nurse. Like, if anything, it'll make you value, you know, your practice and value your license even more. And honestly, if I'm being very honest with you, at the time I didn't see it, but now looking back, I can say, damn, I wasn't ready. Like, I wasn't ready, and I'm just reflecting, and I feel like I would rather not pass my NCLEX, no matter how many times it took me, than to go on the floor, go out there and do harm to anybody. Like, that's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear. So it's like, I would rather study my butt off, pass it successfully, and, you know, be the best nurse that I can be. I can safely be. Let me add that part, because safety is, as a nurse, that's your biggest goal. So, sorry, I got off track. I don't know. Okay, so let's get into it. I graduated March 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, COVID-19. At that time, they had already changed the NCLEX exam. So the NCLEX is basically an exam that you take, and it basically sees if you're competent enough, safe enough to practice as a nurse. So you can take the NCLEX-PN or you can take the NCLEX-RN. I went to school for my RN, so that's the one I took. So at the time during the pandemic, well, we still are in the pandemic, but at the beginning, minimum amount of questions used to be 75, and they dropped it down to 60. And then the maximum amount of questions that you could get were 275, I believe, but they dropped it down to 130. So everyone was like, oh my God, it's gonna be easier for us to pass, blah, blah, blah. People in the cohort ahead of me were passing. They were like, oh my God, it was so easy. So, you know, it's our time now in our cohort, and a couple of people passed, and they were writing in the group chat, oh my gosh, you know, I passed, it was so easy. So, you know, you hear that, and you like, okay, all right, everybody's saying it's easy, so I know I'm gonna pass. I graduated March 2020, and everyone says that you should take like 2 to 3 months to study, because you don't want to forget any information that you learned. You want to be fresh, you want to be, you know, quick on your feet, your critical thinking skills are really sharp. So I ended up taking my exam May 21st. I think I set the appointment for like 9 o'clock or something, and I set it for a site that's like 35-40 minutes away from me, up north. And yeah, I got there at like, I started at 9, and I think I finished at like maybe 10 or something like that. Walking out of there, I knew I didn't pass. I knew it in my heart that I did not pass. I'm not even kidding. Like, everyone who does pass, they walk out and they're saying, oh my god, I thought I didn't pass and I passed, like, you know. But I did have a little bit of that in me, but my gut feeling was like, nah, it ain't it, girlfriend, you did not get it. So honestly, when I did the PCR trick in the car, I wasn't surprised. I think the main thing with me is, like, during the exam, I did not know what they wanted from me. Like, I didn't have the skills to pick out and identify what specifically they wanted from me. You get me? Like, it'll be a whole paragraph and I don't even know where to start. So my critical thinking skills were definitely not where they were supposed to be. Problem solving skills were not where they're supposed to be. And I'm pretty sure that had a big thing to do with it. But now looking back, I can identify a whole slew of things that I did wrong. So we're about to get into that part of the video. I jotted some stuff down just so I don't leave anything out. These are the things from the top of my head. So if you see me look down a little bit, I'm sorry. Okay, so in nursing school, in my nursing school, they included a Uworld subscription. A Uworld subscription in our capstone. So capstone is basically, you take all of your nursing core classes, and capstone is basically a review of everything to make sure, you know, you've learned what you're supposed to learn, the most important things of like med surg, maternity farm, health assessment, things of that. It's basically to tie everything in. So they included a subscription of Uworld. So we would have to do a certain amount of Uworld questions per week, and we would be assessed on them, and you know, the rationales, things of that nature. And everyone was just pushing Uworld. They were like, all you need is Uworld. Do Uworld and you're gonna be good. That was the case for some people, but that was not the case for me. So as I was studying for the first attempt, that's all I was doing. I already had Uworld for a long time. So at that point, it was just, I don't want to say I was memorizing them, but unconsciously I was memorizing them. Like, I already read the rationales. And like my study buddy and we would print out key things that we need to know about certain topics and stuff like that. So it was kind of like repetitive. I'm like, okay, I think I kind of already know this bank already. Certain things that I wasn't sure on, I would open my Saunders book. I'm gonna put a picture of that up there somewhere. Oh, also I was told Uworld and Mark Klimek videos. I didn't watch all the Mark Klimek videos. I think I went through like the first 3 or something like that, and I'm like, nah, this is not gonna help me. Let me go back to Uworld. So I didn't do that, but I was supposed to do. I would study from the time that I wake up to the time that I went to bed, unless I had to go to work or something, but I wasn't really working like that. And I think that really burnt me out mentally. For me, it got to the point where like I wasn't learning anymore. Like, I was not learning anymore. I wasn't soaking up any information anymore. Everything was just, the night before, I didn't sleep. The day before, they say to relax, do something fun, don't study at all. I did not do that. I still was studying. Back to what I was saying. I don't know what I was saying. No, yeah, okay, so I didn't sleep the night before. I woke up mad early. If my test was like at 9, I think I woke up at like 5 or something, 5 or 6. Because I'm like, I want to get there early. I don't want to get stuck in traffic. I want to stop and get a good breakfast. So I go, go get my little McDonald's child, give me some breakfast. And I go and I'm there mad early. Like, it's still dark outside. That's how early I was. It was still dark outside. What messed me up with that is I got there so early, it gave me time to do stupid stuff. Like, I would log into Uworld and do questions. Why am I doing questions right before I'm walking in? I remember getting some questions wrong, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, freaking out. Like, no. Also, I just started Googling random labs. And you know, if you're in nursing school, you know every single book and every single nursing book or every single source on the internet, lab values are different. So I have my memory of my labs, but then I don't know what I pulled up some random flashcards, and I'm going through the labs, and I'm quizzing myself, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know this. Oh my god. So it was just like making me freak out even more, and it got to the point where I'm like, nah, I need to stop. But I did not stop. I did not stop because I don't know, I just couldn't stop. I'm like, I know this other stuff that I need to know. There's more information I need to soak in. No, don't do that. I went in there thinking, okay, I'm gonna do 60 questions and I'm gonna dip. 60 questions came, I'm like, damn. 70 questions came, no. 80 questions came, no. 90 questions came. Like, I went all the way to 130, and I think that really messed me up mentally because I went in there saying, I'm going to stop at 60. Don't underestimate the exam. The exam is hard. Another thing I did wrong is planning something that day. Do not plan to go to work. Do not plan to meet nobody nowhere. Do not plan to, don't plan nothing, because don't plan nothing, because that's going to be something else at the back of your head, and the only thing you need to be thinking about is that test. Bad. Like, that whole day was like I woke up like a zombie, threw on whatever, put on whatever wig, the first wig I found, and I just went. Altogether, just ended up me not passing. Like, I went downstairs, went in the car, I just sat there. I was like stunned. I was like shocked. I was like, what was that? What was that? Like, what kind of outer space freaking test was that? And I called my mom, and she's like, so, because my mom's a nurse too. So she's like, so what happened? I told her, I was like, Mom, I don't think I passed. And she's like, don't say, you know, she's trying to be encouraging. She's like, don't say that. I know you passed. I know you got this. She's like, do the trick. She said, the trick works for me. I know it works. I did the trick. And it's popped up that message that, like, it let me pay. It let me pay for to schedule another test. So the PCR test, basically, if you put your card number in, and if it comes back and it basically says that you already have an exam scheduled, like for that type of exam, then you pass. If it lets you pay now, you're gonna have to take it again. So it let me pay. I was on the phone with my mom, and I was like, it went through. And she was like, what? She was like, it went through. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. Like, I see your receipt. So she's like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Like, she was like, don't cry. Like, she was trying to comfort me. It's like, when your loved ones are trying to comfort you, and you already know you failed. It's like, man, I ain't even trying to hear that. I'm gonna be real with you. I was not trying to hear that. Like, I was like, I kept looking at the phone. I'm like, then I pulled up my bank. I'm like, nah, it went through. Like, I did not pass. And I was like, I'm even getting teary. I think about it. It was just so sad. So I called my aunt. My aunt is like, that's my prayer. Anything going on with me, not even with school, anything, I know I could call her. I called her right before I went in, we prayed, and I called her after, and she was like, so? And I'm like, nah. And she was like, it's okay. She was like, it's okay. I was like really trying not to cry. I didn't cry. I did not cry until like later that night or something like that, when it like really set in. But yeah, she was just being really encouraging, and that was about it. I think I went and I drove and I got something to eat. Stuffed my face. Emotional eater. Unfortunately. But it didn't stop me from taking it over again. I'll tell you that much. And I don't want you to get discouraged. You got this. Approach it differently. You're gonna obtain your license one way or another. I know. So the second time I took my NCLEX, honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with you, I did not go right back into studying for the NCLEX. Some days I woke up, I'm like, all right, we gotta crush this. Some other days I woke up, I was just so discouraged. Other days I woke up, I'm just like, man, I'm not studying. And so it really took me like, yeah, I took my time the second time. I really took my time the second time. So the NCLEX has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 key categories that their questions like come in. I'm gonna read them out to you. Physiological adaptation, management of care, reduction of risk potential, safety and infection control, pharmacology and parenteral therapies, basic care and comfort, psychosocial integrity, health promotion and maintenance. Boom. When you don't pass, within a couple of days, you're gonna get a mail in your mailbox or whatever, and it's gonna print out each one of those sections, and it's gonna tell you if you were above passing, near passing, below passing. I think I was near passing for everything except for everything. I wish I had that paper. I probably have it somewhere. I was at near passing for everything except for psychosocial integrity. And you want to know what's so crazy? I was pretty good at psych. So that took me for like a whoa. Maybe I wasn't as good as I thought. You get me? But whatever. Everything else I was near passing. So that kind of gave me a little bit of hope, because how I was feeling, I was like, man, I bombed that test nasty. That's how I felt. I felt like I didn't know anything. So to see that, I was near passing on all those categories except for one, it kind of gave me like a little bit of more confidence. So what I did is, I got this book. I'm gonna put it right there. It's made by Kaplan, and it's called NCLEX-RN Prep Plus. Okay, that book is so good. It is so good. What it does for you is it breaks down each one of those categories. It gives you the backstory on it. It gives you why it's important. It gives you how you can apply it. Application is the key. You can have the knowledge, but can you apply it? That is the key. It shows you how to apply it. It shows you examples of questions that are in that category, like the types of questions that you will see that would qualify to be in that category. And it literally gives you examples, and it gives you like a pathway. It's literally like a pathway. The majority of them are like 4 to 5. It's like circle, arrow, circle, arrow, circle, arrow, and the big box is your answer. So it teaches you how to eliminate things based on like what they're asking you, the stem of the question, the types of answers there are, because you could answer a question correctly based on just the type of answers that you have, not even from the question. I'm telling you, this book is so good. After each chapter, it gives you a practice test of those type of questions. And after that, it gives you rationales. The rationales are not wordy. I hate super duper wordy rationales. I get bored like after the third sentence. Those rationales are not wordy. It breaks down each, I can't express this enough. You need to get this book. This book really helped me think differently, think critically, analyze things, apply things. It's very good. I did that, and at the end of the book it has 2 practice exams. There is a pretty large amount of questions, but it's gonna help you. I'm telling you, you're gonna see similar questions. It's gonna help you. You're gonna see this and be like, oh, I know how I can approach this, because that was my thing. I'm like, I don't even know how to approach this. I don't even know where to begin. That book really helped me. What else helped me? Kaplan. I'm gonna keep it real. Oh, in that book, I told y'all I wasn't working, and I was freaking renewing Uworld over and over again. Uworld is expensive, so I did not buy that book. I took my happy self right to my nearby library, and they had that book. They also had Saunders. They also had the PN version. They had a whole bunch of books, like whole bunch of resources. I checked it out. I think I renewed it like 3 times. Like, there are things out there. If you don't have the funds, or if you don't want to spend the funds, it's there for you. Just try to, like, your local library or something like that. Another thing that I did that I really believe helped me is by the time that I was attempting to study again, my Kaplan account for school expired. So I called them up. I'm like, hey, listen, I had to sauce it up a little bit, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm trying to use you guys' software to help me pass the NCLEX. I just took my NCLEX. I didn't pass. Is there any way you can help me out? They reopened it for me. They extended it for me for like months, for a couple months. And I'm like, all right, cool, boom. So I hit up my study buddy. We both did it. And we would go in and we would say, okay, for today, we're going to do a certain amount of questions on this subject. And everything that, we didn't have a passing thing on, for that day, we would just go ham on that. Rationales on Kaplan are pretty lengthy, but they're really good. They're very good. To me, how vague the questions are on Kaplan, that's how I feel like it was very similar. You get me? Kaplan is, and you want to know what's so crazy? I played on Kaplan. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna study Kaplan. Kaplan's too hard. Kaplan is what I needed. My study buddy and I, Shani, we literally went through nursing school together. Like, that's another thing in nursing school, you need to have a buddy. Long story short, I'm hitting up my girl Shani. It's right in the middle of the pandemic, but she just had her baby, so she's not trying to go outside or nothing like that. She's not really trying to meet. So we would literally wake up, make a schedule. Okay, boom. From this time to this time, we're gonna go through this amount of questions in this book. From this time to this time, we're gonna go through this amount of questions on this software. This day, we're gonna listen to Mark Klimek. Like, we really busted down. It really helped having someone else there, like, doing it with you. Some days, I wouldn't want to study, or some days she wouldn't want to study, or she would be busy or something like that. But overall, we kind of tackled it together, and it's really important to have somebody. What else? Oh, so I use the Kaplan book along with the Kaplan software. Those go hand in hand. I listen to all of Mark Klimek's audios. I have a total of 12 audios. I will actually include the link down below for anybody who needs it. He is good. He puts things that are so complex in like the simplest terms, and you're like, oh, okay, I got this. Neuro, oh, okay, I got this. Maternity, I got this. Med-surg, farm, I got this. He studied the NCLEX he knows what they want. He knows what they're asking for. He knows how they're gonna word it. He's gonna give you tips. He's gonna say, like, on the NCLEX, they're gonna say this, but what they really mean is that. And he's on point with it. Like, he's been studying the NCLEX for what, over a decade? More than that, probably. So he's probably like the go-to guy for that. He's really, really good. That also helped me. I finished the book. I did a decent amount of Kaplan questions, did my Mark Klimek videos, and to put the icing on the cake, NCBSN. Now, NCBSN, they're the people who actually make the NCLEX, and they have a review. I think you can pick between 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, something like that. I was, by that time had passed so much. I finished all of that, and I think I was gonna take my NCLEX in maybe like 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. And I remember talking with Shani, and I'm like, is this even gonna help us? And she's like, yes, Kaylee, like, they make the NCLEX. So I ended up purchasing the 6-week one, and I think at the time they had a sale. So, you know, I put a little coupon code in or whatever. Got the 6 weeks. I'm like, man, I'm not even going to use the whole 6 weeks. But let me see what they're talking about. If I'm being real with you, the Kaplan questions and the NCBSN questions were very similar. Their rationales were not long. They had a whole bunch of categories. And after a certain amount of tests, they have you take a bigger test to see what you learned or anything like that. And you could go back on the questions. You can retry on the questions unlimited amount of times. Like, it's a really, really good review. If anybody has the opportunity to do that review, I would do it. It's very good. And they make the NCLEX. It don't get no better than that. Like, it does not get better than that. Like, those are the things that helped me pass my NCLEX. I know some people say, oh, only use one thing. I tried using one thing. That one thing did not help. I'm not gonna say it did not help me, because I did definitely gain knowledge from Uworld. But I'm gonna say Uworld gave me like a baseline, gave me like a foundation. Those others that I mentioned helped build me up. And when I went the second time, got some sleep. I did not study the day of. I did not study the day before. Still got a breakfast. I think I ate breakfast at home. I'm not gonna lie to you, I really was nervous, but I had a sense of peace over me, because I'm like, nah, this time I know I put in the work. I know I learned. So how I approached it, I went in there with my chest higher. Still was nervous, but overall, I think I was in a better place mentally. And yeah, I went there, and I'm like, as I'm going, the first question, I was stuck on it. The first question, I stayed on it for a long time. And because I know the first question is your baseline question. So depending on how you're doing that first question, they're gonna decrease like how hard it is, or they're gonna increase it. And it kind of sets the tone for the rest of your, exam. I finished at 60 questions at the minimum. The first one I took all 130 questions. So this time I'm mentally prepared to take 130 questions. Don't go in there expecting the minimum. Go in there expecting the maximum. So if you do stop at the minimum amount of questions, it's fine. But if you don't, you're gonna mentally psych yourself out. After 60, I click next, and the screen went black. And I'm like, I was like, I did so bad that shut me off at 60, because if you get shut off at the minimum amount of questions, you were either doing really, really good or really, really bad. In the test, it's an adaptive test. So the test probably recognized, like, no, she's not safe. So that's what I thought, you know? And I went in the car. I didn't even call my mom. I called Shani. And she's like, so, and I'm like, it was too easy. And you know how they say, oh, if the test is too easy, that means you're doing really bad, like they're dumbing down the questions for you. I honestly felt that like that test was easy. And she was like, no, Kaylee, no. I'm like, Shani, that test was too easy. Like, I don't think I passed again. And she's like, don't think like that. Maybe, this is what she said. She said, maybe you were so prepared for the exam that the hard questions felt like they were easy to you. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe. So I'm in the car and I do the PCR test. It let me register again and I bust out crying. Like, I couldn't stop crying. And I'm like, she's like, why are you crying? She's on the phone. She got quiet. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I read the message out to her. She just started screaming. And she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, I can't believe it. Mind you, I cry for everything. I'm like, I can't believe it. I can't believe this. I'm bawling, crying, bro. Like, I will never forget that day. I took it September 3rd, my birthday month. I'm like, my birthday month, gotta be good luck. Has to be good luck. And yeah, I am a registered nurse as of September 2020. Yeah. No, but seriously, guys, don't count yourself out. I cannot stress this enough. Especially right now, we need nurses. We need nurses who are compassionate. We need nurses who are empathetic. We need loving nurses. We need healing nurses. The world needs you. And you got this. Your family's going for you. Your loved ones are going for you. Your friends are going for you. You need to go for you. Don't let this one time make you feel like you're not going to be a good nurse. Don't let this one time make you feel like you're not going to be a nurse at all. Because that was a thought that crossed my mind at one point. You got this. Please keep going. That's the end of my story time. It's pretty long. Yeah, you got this. That's all I'm gonna say. I know you got this. Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that it helped somebody out there, because I know how you felt, but you're gonna get past it, and you're gonna value your license so much more. Not even kidding. All right, guys.